What's up, everybody? Thanks again for joining us on another episode of the WDUTUR podcast. This is episode 140. Come on, help me out, guys. 45? And I honestly couldn't remember. Before we get started, I'd like to ask each and every one of you to please go to the social medias. You can find us at WDUTUR pod across all platforms. Also, search the YouTube and type in WDUTUR. And we're the first ones that come up. Hit the like, hit subscribe, and share it with a friend. Mm-hmm. What's up, Nick?
Que paso, Pedro? Who do you think you are? Not your best intro.
I couldn't remember.
Well, it happened, and we're here. And it's 1:45. Didn't we? Hell yeah. My name's Nick, and I'm feeling great, and I'm happy to be alive. So, yeah.
And my name is Pedro, and I second that, dude. Behind this camera over here.
And my name's Producer CJ, and I can't second or third or any of that stuff. I'm just alive, and that's okay, too. And let's just not put a whole lot of ado on it. We've got a special guest in the studio
here
sure
today.
Mm-hmm. A good friend of mine from past 10 years or so. We've played lots of music together. He also happens to be a retired police officer. So we're going to ask a lot of questions.
Hide the weed.
What year
Do
is
I
it?
need to hide mine too?
We've got Mr. Bradford Knights in the building.
Woo!
Somewhere.
Welcome,
somewhere.
dude. Thanks for jumping on this thing.
Guys, thanks for having me. This is going to be fun.
For sure.
Heck
I hope.
Yeah, dude. I'm stoked. I'm stoked. We play a lot of. I've watched Bradford throw a lot of baloney at people from a stage. And
now, what is this? This is the second time you mentioned throwing baloney. Is there like an inside scoop to this, or?
Yes, me and Bradford and I met through being mutual musicians. Our band used to practice down the street from his band.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
so
used
it's
to
like
drive what we called the rape van by our house.
Well, if he was driving it.
Yeah, exactly. No, we didn't, it looked like a rape van, but as soon as he got out, we were like, it's definitely a rape van.
And that kid's got some candy.
Is there padlocks on the back of that?
30 seconds in, we're already making rape jokes about me.
Sorry. Well,
And
Touchy subject.
I just every time
Touchy
there's a
might
school
not be the
shooter.
right
That's exactly the right word.
Yeah, every time there's somebody blows themselves up or something, it's always I'm the butt of the joke. I don't know why.
I'm glad you said up.
And so they were jamming. They were making songs about our rape van, and we stumbled over drunk one night and
That's hilarious.
Introduced ourselves, and they just happened to be like one of my favorite bands of all time. It was amazing.
so you started playing with them.
Eventually, once my band broke up, they were kind enough to let me hang out and sit in on jam sessions for about a year. And I was basically their biggest and only fan, I would say.
He was the drummer's whoopee.
His whoopee.
Whoopee.
What's that mean?
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
You never heard that?
Nope.
You were the whoopee.
The whoopee.
Yeah, because we always picked on Terry. Bart and I picked on Terry.
Well, he saw what happened.
Terry brought
Terry
him along.
needed me.
He's
to
like,
be,
yeah, I need a whoopee.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And how did
Awesome.
what? And
I'm happy to have been.
You just earned a new nickname here.
not only you're the whoopee, but also what happened after you bullied that Terry guy for so long. So maybe we should learn a couple things about what we're doing to this guy.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. Well, so let's pump the
my
brakes
God,
a little
dude.
bit of that.
You almost broke
So
me
how's
with
your
that.
mom doing, CJ?
Got a good relationship.
I don't know.
We're doing
Don't talk to that
Mother's Day.
bitch.
All right.
So that's pretty funny. You guys are making just music or songs about their rape band, and then you guys just happen to roll up.
Yeah, because we always heard them practicing and jamming with the garage half open or
It's
whatever.
like a
so we just
neighborhood,
rolled over and
garage band war.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. We were just hanging out in the back of the rape van making acoustic music at the time.
Was this over by the 7th Street house?
Yes. Yeah, it was actually right across the street, basically from North Canyon,
Oh, okay. So not that house.
the high school that we went to.
Yeah. Dude.
I went to high school, dude.
Yeah.
Believe it
I know
or
you
not.
did. No, I know you did. You snuck in there, dude. I get it.
Yeah, 6 years, dude. You did it, though.
It was almost 6 years, to be honest.
I love playgrounds.
So, yeah, I mean, a lot of history there, man. It was cool. But, yeah, I've got
He does too, hence the van.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of playground love going around in this podcast with that guy.
And that's the new shirt that we have available. If you click down below, it's I Love Playgrounds with just a sweet picture of a playground.
And of your child, too, on the picture, I think.
No, you disgusting animal.
All right, it's not that gross. Anyways, so back to these beautiful days playing music in the garage.
Well,
Man,
that's how we met. And so they eventually let me go, and me and Terry did acid in California and wandered around the NAMM Music Festival at Anaheim Convention Center.
Oh, I've always wanted to go to that.
It was amazing, dude. Man. That's why I got this big vagina tattoo on me, to commemorate that.
It makes sense for sure. Like I see that.
You have to do an overlay of the tattoo. At this point.
How do those two correlate, if I may ask?
Well, it was just a group thread.
Oh, wait, acid. Oh, that's why.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right, that makes perfect sense.
That was a big contributor to the decision. And then thank you, Acid. Shout out to Acid.
There really isn't anything more. What do we got here? 5 minutes ago. There really isn't anything more holy than the vagina, if you think about it. If that is the creator,
That's true.
God,
I felt
she's
that
a
way
woman.
at the time, and I still kind of feel that way.
The DMT princess, you know? For many years, we've taken the power out of women's hands when they've been the creator. So I just think that we need to turn that around.
Well, let's be honest. The power's not in their hands.
Yeah, that's true. That's in the it's on his leg.
Exactly. That is like an old theory, or like that the pagan religions would worship woman as the altar of man. Those are the words I always remember.
Wasn't it not until really the Christians and Catholics where they tried to flip that script in a little bit? I think
Right,
it's just
patriarchy or whatever.
Yeah, dude, they wanted equal rights. That's
No,
ridiculous.
well, so maybe that's true, but
You
that's
gotta earn equal rights.
That's
baby.
what happens. You start setting up like that's what you want, and then all of a sudden, the men run the show. And now look at us. Dude. Now look at us. We got a cop on Who Do You Think You Are? Because we are a Blue Lives Matter podcast.
Yeah,
That's right. Thin blue line, baby.
Baby, toe the line.
We go back and forth all the time. They don't know.
People get very confused about where we stand.
Okay.
Because we like to kind of poke at both sides.
it's satire, or is it? See,
That's right.
the
That's
thing.
I think it's satire.
We got like threatened by a white supremacist who didn't understand which side of the line we were on. He didn't know we were on his side the whole time. So he threatened to punch us in the face, knock our teeth out or something, dude.
Nazi fags.
Thank you.
So if you're on human's side, though, don't you have your bases covered?
I guess so. I don't know.
You would think so, man.
Yeah.
We're on whatever side gets us the most views right now. We're trying to start this podcast.
All right. Yeah.
3 years later.
Man, it takes time.
No, for sure, dude.
Yeah. And so, but back on the subject of music really quick, just because I want to give a shout out to Bradford's current band, Mr. Incommunicado. Are you guys still doing shows and everything like that right now?
Yeah, we did mostly outdoor shows last year in 2020, which was a toilet bowl for everybody.
Yeah, and that's Mr. Incommunicado. I said it real quick and
What would you?
Great effort.
What
I
is
didn't know it was
your?
like that. Like Pedro?
No, it was
Wow. He's outshining you.
yeah.
Do you want another beer?
He's taking my spot. Dude.
It's 1-0 Bradford right now on Pedro. Pedro
I'm
Brady
trying not
burps.
to because I had a Greek salad before this, and I don't want to burp up onions. Okay. Yeah, check some of that out. I would say genre wise, it's kind of like ska-ish, right? Or what would you call it?
Yeah, for sure. I'm playing with a bass player, Bart, who was in the Brown Tones with the band that he played with for a little bit. And Bart played in a band called Congo Shock a long time ago. And I was in a band called Medieval Knievels, which was kind of like a surf punk band. And we opened for them a lot, and they were a ska band. And that's kind of how I got to love ska.
Nice.
Cut to many bands later. Bart and I were kind of, Terry went off and did his thing. We know what that was. And then
Good old Terry.
Bart and I said, hey, you want to start a ska band? And he said, yeah, can you write ska songs? And I said, yep, I'll start right now. And I did. And
How long have you been doing that?
3 years-ish. And then about a year into it, we got a couple horn guys because we were a three-piece, which didn't sound very good. It sounded more like garage ska, ska-rage. And then we got a couple horn guys and sounded a little more legit. And
Gotcha.
they wrote some good parts. And
Yeah, that's a very vital part of ska.
exactly. But we only have like 6 people in the band right now, so that's kind of low for a ska band.
Oh, yeah. You need like twice as many junkies. You need like 5 more junkies.
I know, we're not legit yet. Exactly.
Yeah.
Start doing heroin, and then we'll talk.
I never learned how to dance or do any kind of dancing. I never did any dancing until you guys started your ska band. That was one of the coolest things. I never really got into ska. I don't know if you guys were into ska a lot growing up, but
A little bit of less than Jake, just that's about as far as I dip my toes ever, from like that pop punk kind of getting into that a little bit, but never really. No,
for me it was always just Sublime and then reggae. I never really got into ska itself. So
I like this. I love the sound of ska, but I couldn't name you a band. You know.
Once I started dancing to it though, and seeing how like much fun everybody was having doing that, I was like, oh, dude, this is cool. That's why
you started skanking.
Oh, of course.
But that's what happens with a lot of kinds of music. It's like even for like grindcore, like death metal, people don't really get it. Like it all sounds the same, this and that. But when you get part of that culture in this weird way, and you dance or you feel, it's like, oh, there's a certain vibe to it.
Yeah,
it's the same thing with shitty like hip hop or club music. It's like that's not really solely the purpose. You know, it's like there's different vessels where these really shine. I feel like, you know, I don't know. But
I don't know either, man.
You play guitar?
I do.
What kind of guitar do you got? What's your baby? Or you kind of mix it up?
I have like 4 Fender Tellys. I have a custom one that was made by the bass player. He works at Roberto Venn, and
shout out Bartone Basses.
Yeah, he's incredible. So I have a lot, but I mostly play Tellys on stage.
Tellys, yeah. Like thin lines, semi-hollow. What do you like?
I don't know. It's just
Lipstick
a Telecaster.
pickups, yeah.
I'm such a gear idiot. I don't know anything about my gear. It's a Fender Telly. That's about all.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. That's
I got a silver one and a black one and a brown one, and that's about.
The Telecaster was actually right there. That like sunburst semi-hollow, but it was like one of the first guitars I ever got when I got my first.
That's nice. I might be leaving with that today.
You can take it. I haven't played it forever. It's a little too thin for me. Like I'm not crazy about the lipstick pickups, just because like I try to get like more of a sonic sound where you're trying to get like that tight like ska sound. So it's perfect for that. You know,
what's a lipstick pickup?
Civil asset forfeiture.
Those single bar. So it kind of looks like a tube of lipstick.
Oh,
it's just the way the coils work. So like ones that have the double pickups, you get a little bit more. Little bit girth. I'm a soap bar. I like the soap bars. There's like on Jazz Masters and like Gibson stuff like that. But you get a really huge washy sound. That one's a little bit more direct.
Yeah,
so it makes sense for
yeah.
But yeah, I bought that for my first time when I got a tax return when like after working my first year as a job or somewhere, and then I was like, oh dude, it felt so good getting your first guitar, man. What do you remember like getting your first instrument?
I do. I sucked on it. I didn't suck on it. That's really poor wording.
Now we know why you're a friend of this guy.
It was a dildo.
My first instrument, I sucked on it. It was an acoustic guitar, and I failed miserably. That's a better way to put it. What about stimmy instruments? No stimmy instruments for you?
No, actually.
Wow.
I'm pretty happy with my setup now. And I'm in debt from my setup of like, I don't use any of these pedals. And like, so I've gone through so many things trying to find my sound in a way that I finally have kind of gotten it. Like, I don't really want to say, and now I'm to the point where like the next guitar I'd want to get is like thousands of dollars or something. It's like, I can't, that's too much.
That's a good problem to have.
That's why
it's true. It is true. That is why the stimmy. Yeah, I know.
Can we be stimmy, baby?
Well, I've actually told these guys about this that I've become, now that I've gotten these stimulus checks, but I've been working the whole time, I've had accumulated actually more money than I ever had. So I think I was raised Catholic and now I'm a little bit more Jewish because I'm hoarding onto that money. And this isn't really a joke because so mazel tov.
Sorry for
So mazel tov. You know, if you convert, dude, we got to cut you.
I know. I'll get cut again.
Yeah. Did you pick up some stimmy instruments?
I don't get a stimmy. I've got.
Oh, really?
Yes.
He makes too much money, is what he's trying to say.
No, that would be the wife.
I see.
She has eliminated our eligibility for.
That's
stimmies,
right. I forgot there was.
Which I'm not complaining.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Poor fella.
No, not poor fella.
Oh, he was saying that to himself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He says that to that poor fellow all the time.
Oh, poor fellow, wake up.
Oh, poor fella.
No stimmy.
That's not a stimmy.
No stimulation, bro.
Yeah.
I bought a sampler, and then I bought a bunch of like podcasting gear.
Yeah.
I went a little stimmy crazy.
You bought a car.
I did. I just got my car today.
Wow, what'd you get?
I got a 2014 Jetta SportWagen.
Damn.
TDI.
Gay.
Whatever, bro. That shit's going to be bad.
No, that means like good. That's wake up, dude.
Hey.
Yeah.
Celebration.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, I'm excited about it, man. I already bought so many parts for it. I probably shouldn't have. But, I sold my other car, so I had like some money to actually put down not put down because I didn't put any money down, but like I bought parts that I wanted because it's going to be my forever ride now.
Which rims did you go with? Did you go with those yellow joints?
No, those didn't fit my car, dude.
Bummer.
I know, those fucking smoothies. Those would have been really nice because it's just a classic like VW look.
That one was
he's keeping track.
That one was very alien. I was trying to figure out like what alien movie that voice was from because like I feel like I heard it from something.
Like it starts with a high click and then
Like maybe Stranger
Kinda
Things or
dropped
something.
down.
I don't know.
The Ring, dude.
Were you sad because I hate cars? I don't have really much attachment to them, but I do have attachment to things that I guess I grow in, and you have like nostalgia for like, oh, I remember driving it to this person's house and having this experience with it. So like, I understand getting rid of a car and like I get a little like, oh, it's like.
Yeah. So I had a 1969 Volkswagen Bug that I did an off-body resto on, and when when my wife was gonna have our baby, I traded one baby in for another. So I sold that, and I was devastated with that. But
isn't that human trafficking?
Yeah, but you get a lot of money for that. It's like 10,000.
Yeah. Don't say 10,000, dude.
Okay.
But
20,000 pesos? No.
You said you're just a civilian, right?
As far as you know.
Undercover.
He just rips his shirt off.
Just arrest Pedro.
Son of a bitch.
He's illegal. No.
These are my papers.
These are my papers, man.
Yeah, so I was a little upset about that. And then I already had the 2012 Beetle as a newer Beetle with a nice little turbo, and that thing was quick. But it was just a pain in the ass getting my daughter in and out of that. I'd have to climb into the back seat, put her in there, climb out. And I needed a 4-door vehicle, so I went with that.
Hell yeah. Dude.
And I'm happy about it. And that wasn't a stimmy money, but the stimmy money went to diapers and fucking...
And what is the car again?
The car I got?
Yeah.
Jetta SportWagen.
Nice.
Year, make, model, license plate, number, registration, hand it over to my friend, please.
He'll take the notes. Did you ever have a VW?
I had a Jetta.
I had a Jetta as well.
And I actually
What
loved
about
it.
you?
Damn, we're all gay.
We're all
I've never had a
Nazis.
Jetta.
Any VWs?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
I loved my
He's
Jetta,
out.
dude.
I've only had hand-me-down cars and stuff.
Yeah.
Really, I had one leased Toyota, the offshoot of Toyota. What was it? Scion.
Whose rape van was that?
Brett's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, homeless Brett.
What's that?
Is he,
Damn, don't
is he
call him
homeless?
that.
Yeah, where
No,
is he at?
actually, he's doing great, and
We actually have him. We actually have him. Hey,
Brett, come on out.
He's standing right behind me, isn't he?
Oh, was that hand coming through this curtain there?
I thought I smelled.
Why do you ask, Bradford? Are you a VW guy? Do you like
No, I just had one, and I find that a lot of people I meet have had a VW at some point. It seems like a lot of people have had a VW at some point.
It's a
in their
good car,
lives.
man.
I've wanted one.
Yeah. I had a square
That
back.
counts.
You had a square back?
Yeah.
What year?
And I had a Jetta, and I had a Super Beetle. I had a 72 Super Beetle. I had a 69 square back, and I think it was an 84 Jetta.
Nice.
oh, so we know what side you supported in World War II.
¿Quién crees que eres?
No, I thought that's the wrong button.
You gotta do it.
Nazi fag.
Good call.
You want to be a podcast
Bradford's
producer?
better at this than I am.
You're out. I think he's taking over your job.
This guy just smokes weed the whole time. He's like literally early. He's like, we should start early this week, you guys. And we're like, yeah, okay, sure. And then he's like, on my way at the time. He said,
I got here 15 minutes earlier than usual. I'm usually a half hour late. Today I was only 15 minutes late.
Okay.
That's not better, dude.
It is better.
it is better.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, I loved my Jetta. I did it for like 10 years. It was like my first car too that I like leased out, and it was like my own. Like
Yeah.
that was so it was kind of my baby in a way.
That's the thing too. I mean, if you maintain them properly, dude, they'll fucking. I know Volkswagen owners that have like 400,000+ miles on their vehicles.
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
I took so many beautiful trips from Seattle down through California. Like that road trip, it's so nice, dude.
Beautiful trees
You
everywhere.
ever go on any like good road trip kind of actions? Or sorry, you were gonna ask me a question.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what happened to your Jetta.
It just basically at the 10-year mark, it was like I was spending.
Damn.
Is there a burp count going on?
Yes.
I need another
You haven't noticed this yet?
I was spending like literally every like month or two, something was breaking on it, and it was like $600 because all the repairs are also so expensive that it became just. I was just like, this is crazy.
not worth it,
I couldn't.
yeah.
I couldn't afford it anymore. And then now I have a Honda, and it's not as sleek. It's not as quick or like all those things. You know what I mean? But
But it refuses to die.
It refuses to die, and it's like and I don't care about cars, like I said earlier. So it's like I don't really care to drive. I've gotten speeding tickets for, like I don't need that anyways too. Because the Jetta, it just, man, you put your pedal on that, it picks up.
I thought you looked familiar.
Yeah, I know.
Wait, can you run? Can you run by at like 50 miles an hour? It is you.
Yeah, I know. And I'm the kind of white guy they want to make the example out of in the suburban areas.
Yeah, they're just waiting. Reach for the waistband, Daniel.
He's licking his lips over here, dude.
We know you, kind of people.
Yeah, where's that? Camera's a little too low there.
Oh man,
that's funny, man.
No, I have a sad story about my 72 Super Beetle. I came down. I was living at Flagstaff at the time. And I came down to see a Rush concert, and I drove my Beetle, and I had my friend Chip with me, and we went to a couple of friends in Maryvale. I thought it was a really nice area at the time. And then we visited them, and we were leaving the parking lot to go to the Rush concert, and cool guy peeled out in the Beetle onto the road in front of an oncoming Cadillac.
Oh,
you know who lost that battle?
Of course.
Boom! Spun around a couple times. Totaled it.
Did he T-bone you or?
She did, yeah. Oh. And there was a couple kids in the car, so I felt really bad. But
in your car or their car?
Their car.
You assumed it was a male who crashed?
I know. I'm
profiling.
Sorry,
profiling. Gross. Of course it was a woman.
I'm Hispanic. I can profile all I want.
That's true.
License to profile.
Racism hasn't gone down to the South yet.
Still free range down there.
You don't have a button for that one?
Not necessarily.
So
yeah, that was the end
that's
of that one. Yeah, total.
Any other bad car accidents? Have you ever been in any of the other car accidents like that?
Yeah, I mean, I got rear-ended in the same car, but I got it fixed. I don't know, a few here and there.
Yeah, but just the total was the worst.
Yeah, that was just me being a dumbass, peeling out right in front of a Cadillac.
Trying to look cool. It's always trying to look cool.
Neil Carson's a shit.
Yep. That's all I was thinking about.
Yeah.
We made it to the show, though, so that's the important thing.
They always get you to where you want to be, man.
That's right.
Can you hand me one of those beers?
A little bit of duct tape and some rubber bands, and you can fix those damn Beetles with it.
All you need is a 10 millimeter wrench, and you can take the whole thing apart.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like literally everything in that car, you can take it apart.
Then they went to the Jetta, and you can't fix that thing for less than $500.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what's?
Don't scare me like this, guys. I just got a Jetta. Calm
you're
down.
in big trouble. How many miles you know why I think I had disdain for bugs my whole life?
Why, dude?
Because I think, What did you just say?
They remind you of the Jews, I think he said.
Oh, no, it reminds me of when I was a kid.
Bug lives matter.
No, it just reminds me of being a kid and that game. Whenever you see them, then you hit the other person until you name the color of the car. Did you guys play this game?
Yeah.
Slugbug, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's probably why. I think I just cracked that. I was like, that's why I always hated them. It's like I just remember that. And
You didn't like the
negative
game?
reinforcement.
Yeah, and I don't like getting hit. I mean, yeah.
You know what's funny?
That's why I hit all my girlfriends now.
Hit them before they hit you. That's what it is.
Hit them before they hurt me.
Established dominant.
At a young age.
It was funny driving that car. I saw that so often, and it's amazing how many people still play that game.
Yeah.
The slug bug.
Your mom pinches my nipples when she sees slug bugs.
Well, that's not only when she sees bugs.
That's
dude.
true. True that, dude. Hell yeah.
You and my mom got something going on, dude. I sort of.
Well, I mean, I hear that voice every week. What am I going to do?
Not to get hard, baby.
Okay. All right. This is my mother you're talking about,
dude.
guys.
It's anatomy. It's human anatomy, too.
It's funny. I'm surprised when you met, the conversation didn't go, "Watch your head, sir." You know, with this delinquent over here. Jesus.
Oh, it did. The rape van. You forget already.
Yeah.
Right. He was all, "Watch your head, sir," while he was pushing.
So I'm assuming you were retired from the force when you met him, right?
No.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't even know for a while. It was like one of those things where you find out that Brad's a cop, and then you go, and you're just
Then you're rewinding everything you've done.
no,
Oh shit, I said that. Oh shit, I did that. Oh shit, he watched me smoke pot.
I
Oh
was
shit.
never conscious
gotta-
enough to think that.
That's got to be tough though. What's that
Blew
like
my mind.
in that experience of like being like friends with him?
Yeah.
Or like do you weigh that out date or like, because I don't know, for me, I guess I see like a police officer, I'm like, they obviously can't
Howdy, officer.
be around, like they're not going to hang out with any of us and be, when they're still in the uniform or part of the uniform.
You
part
say
of the force.
any of us, meaning what do you mean?
Like
Who's
delinquents,
civilian?
fucking pothead, fucking
Oh, I
mushroom trippers. I don't know.
Modern hippies, I would say.
Yeah.
I've never changed who I've hung out with before I was a cop, when I was a cop. Now it's like,
That's cool.
If you're a
Yeah.
good person, I'll hang out with you.
Yeah.
My opinions about what people do in their own personal lives, as long as there's not hurting other people.
Harry.
Derek Chauvin. I think that was from his court hearing.
Exactly. We're jumping right into that, huh? Or right onto that. No. We didn't need that comment, right?
Let's put a knee on it and move on. For now.
I've always said, I'm going to be who I am. I've always felt that I've been a decent person and done the right things and hung around with the right people. And so I did have a few people who decided not to hang out with me once I became a cop because they said, oh, now you're a cop.
Lame.
I'm like, yeah, but I'm still Bradford. But they just didn't want to hang out with me. So I'm like, yeah. And then, the good people they stayed around, and I'm still with them today. So like I have friends that have smoked weed their whole lives, before I was a cop, during when I was a cop, and now, and it's never bothered me. It's like, if you're a good person, you're a good person. And that's just how I've always operated.
That's like Cut Buddy Paul, man. He's,
Yeah, shout out, dude. We had another police officer on here. See, people think that we're these liberal cucks and we are conservative bleeding Americans. We've had 2 cops on our show. And when that cop buddy Paul came on, dude, I took what I thought was a 50 milligram CBD treat and it turned out to be 100 milligram.
was that what happened? THC?
So I was cruising.
You were wild that episode. You weren't wild, actually. You were just so fucking mellowed out.
It was very strange.
But I mean,
dude.
it's the same with him because like I'm still currently friends. He's still in the he's still on duty.
Yeah.
Is that a common thing? Is there a negative connotation through?
When you say the
civilians like
Force,
me?
I think we're talking like Star Wars.
Because you're an idiot, okay? We're talking to a police officer, an ex-police officer.
all right.
Space Force.
I don't think I ever said force one time.
Yeah, thank
when I
you.
was
That's
a cop,
not a you.
actually.
That's not a. That's not in the lingo,
think so.
dude.
Well, Rush Limbaugh says it all the time. Rest in peace.
And that's who we want to be.
Yeah.
See, that voice is cool.
That
I don't know
one-
why you don't like your own voice. That what you just did there was really cool.
I tell him this all the time.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think it's just hearing it back when it's like
I know.
isolated.
Yeah.
It sounds like I'm fucking 13 and my balls haven't dropped.
Yeah, but when you're behind him, doggy style, and those squeals,
¿Quién crees que eres?
there's something about it. There's something about
I
it.
had to go both on that one.
So, anyways, back to the Force.
Back to
We're
the
being
Force.
serious right here, okay?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me stand
Yeah.
up.
Can the force be with me?
Yes, it can be with you.
No, you were retired from the Force, so it can't be.
I don't have the force anymore.
So I guess maybe that's just a negative thing that we just think of cops, right? That they're not all like that, that they are accepting of all, or if people are good people, and we just jump to the bad apples on either side, right? Do you feel like that? Like where you were working, where you were serving, I don't know what the correct term for that is. Did you feel like there's more people aligned with you than you had one, and then you had one bad guy everybody knew was a dick, and everybody else was kind of in their own group, like
You mean the people I worked with?
yeah.
I got along with like 99% of the people I worked with. Wonderful people. I can't say enough good things about them. But yeah, every once in a while there's a turd, and
There's got to be. Right?
Right.
yeah, there's a turd in this room. We just haven't figured out who it is yet.
Well, I know. I can tell you.
But so that's the slice of humans, right? I mean,
Yeah.
no matter where you go, there's going to be a turd there,
Right.
So any room you get enough people in it, there's a turd in there somewhere.
And
So
sometimes they allow turds to be cops.
yeah, but they're held to a higher standard, or we were. So I think that it's just like a matter of, I have no problem calling out a turd. If a turd's being a turd, it's like,
that
hey,
was my question.
You are a turd.
Is there a process, or do you feel like there's definitely a corrective mechanism within the environment in order to try and keep people on?
Yeah, no, it's good people. It's having good people around to make sure that you're keeping, either the turds out or in line. And sometimes it just takes a little coaxing, and then they
get regular.
They feel it or out.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good guys that I worked with. I remember one of the times we were chasing a call kicked out of a shoplifter, just left Albertsons, ran down another cop, one of my favorite guys of all time. I won't say his name, but just a model.
He knows who he is.
Model human.
He's
yes.
listening.
Yeah,
He's listening.
Oh, he's definitely listening.
Yeah, he's listening.
He's part of that. Yeah, that targeted group you're going after. He got there first. Was foot pursuit. I got there second. I got there just in time to see this the shoplifter, who was about probably 6'5", 6'6", 250, black male, carrying 2 bottles of liquor, trying to hop a wall behind that Albertsons to go into the neighborhood. The cop was, he's probably about 5'7", not real muscular, but in good shape. And again, awesome guy. Pulls him off the wall. The guy turns, drops the bottles, and squares up to the cop. The cop impact pushes him. You guys know what that is?
Not
That's
necessarily.
Elaborate,
when
please.
you take both hands and go forward really fast.
Okay.
Oh.
Basically, just to keep somebody's distance. Impact pushes him. The guy stumbles back a little bit. He jumps on him. I, at that point, got out of my car, got on him as well. 2 other cops came up. We handcuffed him. As soon as we had him cuffed, that's the first officer that had pulled him off the wall says, "Everybody off now." Sits him up, says, "Are you okay?" He says, "Yeah." And he says, "All right, it's over. It's over. Everybody, it's over." And just to have somebody like that in a situation like that, I mean, that's what you want, right? I mean, our job is...
You don't... Go ahead.
Yeah, bad guy, catch him, make sure, get him under, into custody, make sure he's okay. And then that's it. And now attend to him like you would want somebody to attend to your dad, son, mother, father, whatever.
And so obviously this was in Flagstaff because he wasn't carrying a gun.
You mean you don't want 3 other officers standing around while you're still on the dude?
Watching?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, there was no, and if you want to segue to that, I get having somebody watch your 6, depending on the neighborhood you're in. This was in a part of the city where I worked where we didn't really have to worry about that. So, but just to have an officer there who has the presence of mind and the wherewithal to go, get into custody and then go back off. Everybody back off. Are you okay? Are you hurt anywhere? Do we need to roll fire?
Can we make an observation here on the George Floyd thing, since we
let's do it.
I think it's interesting that you
We've
say
been
that.
hopping around it. Because, it's like, do we touch it? Do we touch it?
No, I think it's interesting, though, because the cop that was on his feet did mention putting him into recovery position, I think 2 or 3 times at least on the video. If you watch the extended video, and
the director's cut?
he was kind of
Quentin Tarantino.
¿Crees que eres?
Yes.
and that was good.
I am an idiot.
He mentions it sort of under his breath. He's kind of timid about it, and he backs off of the idea.
Yeah.
And so I wonder, as you're mentioning that now, I'm like, if that guy would have been able to be a little bit more forceful about his training when it was kicking in, because obviously he had an instinct like,
Set him
this
up,
guy's
yeah.
no longer responsive. We need to start tending to him now.
Yeah, what you should do. I mean, that's what we do as police officers. We should. I mean, we're there to protect people, which includes the people that we take into custody. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're protecting everybody, which includes the people we take into custody.
regardless of
Yeah.
the crime or whatever.
That's also to the point of this story doesn't happen as often as, like, we don't hear the good stories of what you were just.
Exactly.
And that's the thing, like,
Right.
that's happening hand over fist or whatever the expression. Was it hand over?
That's it. But I mean,
No, I thought it was
usually
knee over fist.
I don't even know.
it's knee over chest.
No, really, what is it? I'm losing my mind. What is it? Hand over
It
fist?
is hand
know,
over
man.
fist. Like you,
Oh, okay.
like you're holding the money and then you.
Yeah, so this is
That's how I
the
masturbate,
situation
dude.
where it's usually happening where it's like it doesn't actually the cops are good people and they're trying to alleviate the situation. They're not keeping their knee on somebody that the story's weird, right? Too, that they had any connection before. Obviously, he swallowed drugs. He was, there's so many different parts of it too. But I would say if there's as many there's probably way more videos of it actually ending.
In a peaceful way.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not
100%.
peaceful for.
But who wants to sit around and watch that on social
No,
media?
dude.
That
Who's
doesn't-
going to
that
get
doesn't play.
outraged by that?
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like, this is boring. Who wants to watch? I'm moving on to something that outrages me.
Oh, you mean the cop actually did his job, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
mean-
care if she had a knife.
Yeah.
How read up are you on, data and everything like that? Do you have an opinion on whether or not there's racial prejudice in the police system itself?
Yeah, and that's a really good question because, and I don't feel I can speak on that because we just didn't have those issues in the smaller department I was in. We didn't. I mean, like, I can proudly say, and I did on the day that I retired, that I never violated anybody's civil rights, and I'm happy to say that. And I think that the department I was in did a great job of hiring the right people, and we never had those kind of problems. But I obviously see these videos, and some of them just make me sick. And I will tell you, nobody hates a bad cop more than a good cop. Because
see that.
they make
This
make
just
it.
puts a bad
Oh
name.
my
yeah.
God,
Yeah.
dude! It's like, fuck you, man! You just made our job 10 times
Right.
harder.
Or your career. I mean, you were
Yes.
a police officer for 20 years, and that's what cop Buddy Paul even said. He's like, man, it's like I don't know if I get into it now because
Wait, am I cop buddy Brad now?
Brad.
yeah,
Cop buddy Brad.
hell yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
But yeah, he mentioned that too. It's like it does make it worse when you have that bad person make what you are representing look worse, and that's what everybody sees you
Yeah.
as now. Like, and you've given your life and tried to be fair, and we're fair, and now all of a sudden, some other dickhead does something terrible, and now all of a sudden, this whole slate
Yeah.
is wiped. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
And that's unfortunate.
Anybody that makes
Yeah.
the workplace harder to manage it's just like get them out of there, or correct it.
Yeah.
You got two options.
Yeah.
But it's, that's the biggest thing I think about any work environment. So why would it be any different when it comes to policing?
Yep.
What got you into it?
Got me into what?
Becoming a
The
police
Force,
officer.
as
the
he
Force.
calls
The
it.
Force.
Yeah.
Young Padawan.
The desire to be a Jedi.
I'm for real gonna kill myself.
I can help you with that. I was on the crisis
damn.
negotiation team.
I might need your help.
Yes.
To speak on that, I watched an amazing video.
Just beyond what I was asking his
We'll cut off the answer to your
No, I
question.
wanna
and
hear
we'll
what you
talk
wanna
about
say.
it.
No.
I like his voice.
No, actually, please go, Pedro, because we can pick back up.
I
That's
saw,
brown sound.
and you mentioned, you
The
mentioned
brown sound.
That's right.
Okay.
Brown Tones was the old band.
Yeah.
That's the joke, everybody.
you guys were,
So it was a bad joke. You had to explain. Sorry.
so you guys were culture appropriating, dude, back in the day.
Hell yes.
The
we were.
Browns.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, because
Yeah.
none of us were.
Yeah, 4 white dudes in a band called the Brown Tones.
You guys are assholes now.
I can also see why you do well in Arizona.
We also had a band called the Black Tones.
That's true. And Tonos Frios.
Jesus.
The cold tones.
Yeah.
And you used some Spanish lingo in there. Come on, guys. What
Now,
are you-
wait. Answer this. Do you know any Spanish?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it Tonos Frios or is it Tonos Frio?
It's
Frio tone.
I can
Tono.
answer this.
Cool tones. This would be tono
tono frío.
frio. Okay, so the S
Isn't it
shouldn't
always
be there.
Tonos Frios? I thought
No, the S
you
shouldn't
have
be
to
there.
add the S on the adjective.
You just got the
No.
answer.
You don't
from
have to add an SS to everything, dude.
Nazi fag.
Did he really say that?
Yeah, he was
That's
trying
hilarious,
to. He was trying to say Nazi flag, and give my friend
He was
Joe
trying to say
Biden.
salute the-
Yeah, give my friend Joe Biden a little bit of
That's
doubt
hilarious.
because
That's even
he's only been in
funnier.
office for 100 days and he's on to some great things.
And did you
he's-
see him in those aviators like Pedro's rocking, except for even nicer because he's a young geriatric?
Oh.
Were they Gucci or what, dude?
Shout out CNN.
Oh yeah, dude.
Was that Biden? Why do you keep saying Biden when you?
Yeah, that was him. That's a clip from Biden.
Nazi fags.
Oh my gosh.
And he's on board 2024, baby.
No, but going back to, I saw a very heartwarming video, and you were talking about it's the good stories aren't portrayed in the media, and they're not as much. But I mean, every once in a while in the local news, you'll probably catch a story like this where you actually helped a teenage girl down off of a roof by playing some of your music, man, which I thought was incredible.
I watched that video.
You could step back from.
That's the song my wife broke up. My wife's like, I wish you would step. I'm like, come on, really? You think he's going to play that song? No.
I made a parody
great
about that,
song.
about being sad about my dog this week, too. It's called Humper by Third Eye Blind. Wait, that's a different song, right? No, it's not. That's the same one. Anyways, watching your story, dude, I literally bawled. Last night, I watched the news segment.
He's a baller,
and I fucking bawled out.
He was balling out.
I bought a car. No, I'm actually a big pussy, and I fucking cried so much. So thanks. It was an emotional release watching that.
No problem.
And I'm sorry. Go ahead, dude. I just.
Well, I mean, it just like yeah, you don't see that shit often in mainstream media. I guess we could call it. But that's incredible, dude. Like what I saw the video twice, so I know why you did it. You saw a Bob Marley poster, you saw a guitar. Yeah. You're like, okay, let me connect with this. Because in that moment you are the negotiator. Yeah. And as a negotiator, what you want to do is to relate and to try to, connect with this person that, try to put yourself in her shoes or try to.
For sure.
So I can barely fathom like what it's like to be actually in that situation. What was running through your head?
Well, I mean, first of all, there was an off-duty firefighter who drove by and saw what was going on, and he was the first one to go in the house, up to the second story, climb out her window and onto the roof.
That's who was in the video up there with her? Okay.
Yeah, and basically be there to go, if she makes a move for jumping off, I'm going to grab her. Okay. So he did grab her at first, which is kind of freaking her out more because of other issues that she had, but let her go. Her sister, I believe, climbed out on the roof with her. So good on the firefighter. I mean, that's another guy who took basically an oath to say, I'm going to
serve
help
and protect,
people's lives. Yeah. Exactly. So and then I had other teammates get there. I had somebody got there before me. This was in kind of a remote area of our city, so it took a while to get there. We had a couple people on the ground waiting to kind of break her fall if she was going to take the jump or whatever. So, it's a lot about
Two
teamwork.
stories?
No.
Two-story house?
Yeah.
She probably would have broken some bones, but I don't think she would have died.
She's not hopping a wall. She's jumping off a house, dude.
Correct. I mean, unless you go head first, in which case you might even just be only paralyzed.
Right.
But it's the whole
regardless.
Point. Yeah. It's
bad joke
the
time.
whole point of
bad timing for my joke.
No. I get it. And don't think that we have the gallows humor that goes on behind the scenes. But at the same time, here's a girl who's in real crisis mode, and so it was actually, and I wasn't able to put that in there. They didn't put it in there. I did it in the interview, but it was my partner's idea. He's like, dude, why don't you play that guitar? I picked it up. I was tuning that thing. What you don't see on the body cameras, I'm tuning that thing for like 3 minutes going, this thing has never been tuned. The strings aren't stretched.
Hold on.
Oh my God. So, which I talked to her about later, but, so yeah, it's about, just kind of, you throw shit at the wall and sometimes it sticks and sometimes it doesn't, but you're right. It's about making a connection and going, and you have to have it in your heart. Like, okay, this person, I might think what they're going through is not a big deal, but that's me. That's not them. So I need to put myself in their shoes and go, okay, this is very important to them.
Dude, I'm getting chills right now.
How can I connect?
Yeah.
Can you break down crisis mode for that person? Is there some kind of, what does that look like to somebody that's like studying it to try to bring them back from that? When you mentioned,
so you tell me what was your last crisis that you would say was like a big crisis in my life?
I was going to ask this, but I wasn't, so I'm glad you did.
It's actually, it was very recently, which I don't know if I want to talk about it either way, but this is what I'm wondering about is like, how does this crisis mode come up where, you know, I have mental health issues. I've dealt with like suicide attempts or depression my whole life or whatnot. This last week, actually, I put a belt around my neck and just to kind of start choking myself a little bit because I just don't feel like I really care to live anymore. Sometimes. And it goes back and forth, and some days are worse than other days. And this day, it went from doing that to tying it around my dresser to sitting down to going into laying down, and to this point where I'm spit crying, just like in a miserable place. Obviously, just everything around. I'm like, I fucking love my dog. I'm like, why? Like this. I'm sorry. Like this. I have to do it. And it's almost crazy. Your instinct to survive at the point where. God, I'm fucking talking about this, but when I would start laying down, it's like, and you can't breathe and everything like that. Like even when you start going these weird convulsions, like your gut, you have a survival instinct to survive. So, which also tells me
humans,
which also tells me I need to go higher next time. So I can't. Sorry, this is how I deal with it. But I need to talk about it probably. Because it's not normal behavior.
I'm really glad that you're talking about it, man.
I'm really glad you're talking about it.
So I'm wondering, but I was talking to these guys about it because they're my best friends. I love these guys. And I was like, I should probably tell somebody this happened. Because by the next day, I was like, I looked back, I was like, fuck, that's not normal. And also like into Ram Dass and stuff. I'm like, another version of you just died in another dimension. And also you have to now deal with the karma that deals with that situation, all these different dimensions and realms, wherever you may believe. Yeah. And I was just like, how did I get there? I've gotten.
And that's what I was going to ask you. How did you get there?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm wondering about this crisis mode, because I've gotten to the point where I've tried to kill myself. Like I've had one very, very close attempt to it, but it was like, I saw this snowball rolling and then I liked it and admired it in a way, like from the people I looked up to. So I can see a clear path. But this time I was like, literally the day before, I was like, I felt like good, like centered, in tune with nature and earth. And then I know a big part of is with my job that I go there and then just all of a sudden everything goes haywire. But I know the other part of my brain, it's like, you're smarter than this. Like, don't let this affect the other side of your mood.
Yeah. That's your job?
I'm a kitchen manager. I work in a restaurant, and restaurants are just. I'd rather be a cop.
The wrong button again.
So I just, when he said crisis mode, I was just like, yeah, it's like this manic state almost. Like it went to this weird thing that I'm like.
It was
crazy.
Yeah.
My wife works alongside Nick, and for my wife, the past, I'd say 2 months have been hectic, and I noticed the stress on her. I try not to, I try to de-escalate the situation in a sense.
How do you do that?
Just talking to her, and I know, like
knee on the neck. Sorry,
can't catch a break.
I have to. This is getting too. When I get I'm letting out a lot right now.
No, you are, and you know what? We appreciate that. And honestly, I'm.
That's an 8-minute de-escalation, by the way.
That's a what?
Wasn't it 8 minutes to de-escalate that one?
Yeah, it took about eight or so. Yeah.
Okay. But I mean,
46
seconds. I just try to talk to her, like, what's going on in your head? How are you doing upstairs? I do these things like, what's stressing you out? And sometimes I know when I'm pushing the bar by asking those questions, like of what's stressing you out, because I know she's got all these, thoughts running in and out of her head. And the last thing she wants is somebody like, no, well, what's going on in your head? Like the last thing she wants is that. And like she'll become a little snappy towards me, and that's when I know I'm like, okay, I'm gonna back off for a couple hours, and then I'll come back and try again. But I just try talking to her, man. Just if I could play a guitar, I'd probably sing her a song, But it's the truth. It's so that's how I try to de-escalate her. But I noticed that it is the work environment that's making her stress. So you work alongside her, you know what's going on at the restaurant. And what I put in my head when you did text us that when you made the joke about it, and when you text us that, I was like, okay, you know, Nick's probably feeling it. He's been looking for a job for a while. The restaurant, a lot of people are jumping ship. You know, he's noticing probably more responsibility, you know, on him and all this. So I'm like, I thought it was just this culmination of many, you know, just things happening there mainly. And it was from one day to another, like you said.
Yeah.
I could see that happening because I see that kind of with my wife. My wife
Gotcha.
doesn't have any like suicidal tendencies or anything like that.
Right. So it wouldn't amplify those.
Right.
things
It
that
wouldn't
don't
amplify
exist.
to that, but I could see how it could escalate to that point.
Yeah.
And that's all I got to say about that.
And so a lot of what we use is called active listening skills, and that's probably what you did with your wife. You know, it's like, and as we know, I mean, as dudes, we want to fix stuff, and I still catch myself to this day knowing that is not the right shit to do. You need to basically let them, you know, I'm not just talking about women, but people in general, de-escalate by offloading. You know, you're going, I'll be the sponge, just let me have it, you know, and you do things like mirroring, like you just did. You're going like this. That's an active listening skill,
right?
Doing that. And you're a very selfless person, I can already tell, because you keep bringing the conversation back to me. You keep asking me questions, and that's kind of how you are. And I think
he just doesn't like talking about himself.
No, I'm a good podcast host. That's what I'm supposed to do.
You're probably like that in real life, and you probably have a lot of people offloading on you.
Oh, fuck. That's what it is, dude. Yeah.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Why don't you ever let me offload on you, bro?
Because you're inloaded.
Oh, you had to go there?
You're on the inload.
You're on the
You're
inload.
on the inload, dude.
Okay.
Whatever. I leave early every time, and these two stay behind. I don't know what happens.
And also, I don't know if that's true though. I think I do in a sense, and I feel like I am a people pleaser in a way, and I probably soak up people's energy in ways that they don't realize, you know. But I'm also like heavily an introvert too, which is strange. I know doing this thing, but this is one of the few things I do. Like
this and music.
So I don't like talking to people. I don't so I don't feel like maybe people are all, unless they do that in not a conversational way. Is also just an energy based way. Are you mentioning or
both? Yeah,
okay.
Both. And if you take it on yourself, I mean, that's building up in you.
So that is probably a big part of what that is, because it's not necessarily the conversations that we're having. It's what is being projected at you that you keep on receiving.
Yeah. And if you believe in energy or whatever you believe in, I mean, that takes its toll. It weighs on you.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's why I reached 20 years, and some guys do 25, 30, 32 years. I reached 20 years. I went to the shrink.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, you've got empathy fatigue. You know, I was going to calls and I was tearing up on calls, and I was telling her about it. And she's like, you're tapped out.
Yeah.
You're done. You care too much.
Is that
basically the long and short of it.
Wow. Yeah. So you just felt gassed out in a sense.
Well, yeah, I took so much on, and I genuinely believe in humans, and I feel for them. And, you know, having things in my personal life that when that stuff adds up, your cup gets full, and the stuff starts coming over.
Yeah.
And that's where I was at.
So I've heard this kind of going on this like glass is full of energy or whatever word you want to say, the force. So I've heard this thing. I like psychedelics. I don't know where you stand on those or how you feel about them.
I've never stood on them. Actually, I have. I have stood on them.
But I heard this shaman talking about like ayahuasca and how it's this thing where any of the signs of like, you know, a psychedelic like mushrooms or acid or doing ayahuasca, it's like you get into these phases of meditation or whatever it may be, and you forget there's this realm, this tank that you also have of like the spirituality that I feel like a lot of us are just running on zero right now. And as soon as you get a little blip of that, you're like, oh yeah, this is something that I need to feed my soul, whether it's like taking a hike in the forest and being sober, whether it's taking a walk in the forest and doing mushrooms. You're like, there's this, you can't explain it in words. And we don't even talk about it as a culture, but I think it's also this thing of like mental health and about like self-care.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of like, what is your self-care and what are you doing for it? I feel like I do a lot of short little hits of it, exercising, meditating, yoga, and to hit those little buttons, but it's not quite like what some of these psychedelic states get me to. And I feel like I'm fucking gassed out on whatever that third eye thing is. Like my light's on, and I feel like I need that.
Okay, then do it.
I know. I should.
You heard it from the cop, dude.
So I'm good. You can sign a paper.
Not anymore.
I think it's interesting that there's such a mental health push in this country, and everybody's a victim of mental health of some kind, except for police officers in a lot of ways. You know, if you're just following like the legacy media narrative. Yeah. And it's when you look at the statistics, it's anywhere from like 2 to 5 times more prevalent among cops to have PTSD. Yeah. And it's just like, I feel like there's no consideration for the role that trauma plays in the, in the problem of police violence, if not the epidemic of it or whatever.
Yeah. And speaking on mental health, like him or not, Obama had a thing that came out, and it was like an exhaustive list. What's that?
He gave it thumbs.
Okay, all right. He had a thing, and it was actually, highly considered by a lot of police departments and everything. And basically, they talked about mental health, but they also talked about it with regards to police officers and keeping their mental health in check because every once in a while there'd be somebody that I would see, a fellow coworker, and then they all of a sudden wouldn't be acting right. And I'm like, yo, dude, pull them off to the side. Like, what's going on? And then they'd offload on me. And so there has not been a lot of attention paid to mental health of police officers who take a lot on themselves. I've always been in touch with myself. I've got therapy since I was 19, on and off through the years, when I felt like I needed another tool in my belt to help me deal with whatever was going on. Whether it's like, for you, take a trip to the woods and do some psychedelics, or, I don't know what it would be for you.
Have sex with me.
That's
now.
That's
in the woods on psychedelics.
That's more inloading on your
Okay,
on your end. So. I'm trying to offload.
This podcast also makes me realize how uncomfortable I am with my feelings sometimes. Where like I have to make a joke like that so quickly after I
say something serious.
Yeah.
Do you want my DMT, by the way? Because Because I mean I have.
We can get you there.
We can get you there. He's retired, bro. He's not going to get you.
Yeah.
Instinct.
I know people.
There you go.
But no, it's a huge issue. And bringing back to like the events of today, I think that there are a lot of calls that cops don't need to go to that mental health professionals could go to. Having people who could show up, who know how to de-escalate, who know how to get people to the appropriate places. People maybe without guns showing up. If you could have a crisis team come out, 2 people who don't have guns is 2 normal people going, "Hey, how you doing? Can we help you out?" As opposed to 2 cops walking up, "What's going on?" with all these tools on their belt, and it's very intimidating.
Taser.
It can throw somebody into an entire
even the cop
other
gets
loop.
Confused.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, what side's the taser on? Quick.
Mine was over here
because your dominant hand is your right.
Yeah, but mine was over here and my gun was over here.
Right. So yeah, isn't it dominant hand wherever your gun is, and then not dominant hand wherever your taser is?
Well, but it's facing this way. Because I'm not going to draw with my left hand and do it.
It's cross draw.
Okay, right? So that makes more sense.
Yeah, and we did have them on our vest at the time, but I didn't like that. It was too close to the gun, so we most people carried them.
Gotcha. Is what you were talking about? Maybe having somebody else go out to these situations where you don't need an officer or a person of force, like you like to say. When this whole defund the police came out, is because a lot of people took it like we're taking all funds away from the police, all whatever. But
how'd that work out for Seattle?
Are you pitching us the refund the police that we made up?
I mean, we did have
I
an
actually
episode.
like that. And
We
I
did have an
said that
episode. It
because-
was refund
Yeah,
the police.
make them fun again.
refund.
Yeah,
I
make
like
them
it.
fun
Make
again.
it fun again, dude.
Yeah.
And they're out there having fun, you know what I
Kind
mean?
of skip up to the car. Hey, I'm with the force.
911.
911.
Looks like you're going a little fast.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
like, so a lot of people took it as like, we're taking all this money away from the police, this and that. And I from what I read and what I saw, and cop friends that I talked to, Cop Buddy Paul, for example, I'll shout him out. He wasn't completely against the refund the police, but it wasn't. Or defund the police.
yeah.
Sorry, defund the police. He wasn't completely against it, but it wasn't necessarily defunding. It was kind of rerouting.
Yes, refunding. Like where I totally agree.
Reestablish,
Yep.
Where and how the money goes to these places.
There's a lot of things that I don't think that cops need to go to. Mental health professionals need to go to a lot of different things, and that could, if you want to take some money away from the police department and take also a lot of the calls away from them to give them to people who need like a mental health professional.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, why not? I don't think you'll have a lot of cops saying, yeah, I'm going to be really upset if you don't have me go to that crazy guy's house again.
What would a mental health force look like? What would that? I mean, what's the difference between that? Because obviously you're going to get the meme of send a social worker to Makia Bryant's house and see how many people get stabbed before anything gets handled, or whatever it is. So.
Well, you'd have to take into account, like, are there weapons involved? Like, what's the level of escalation at the place? There were a lot of times when we would show up, two of us to a house, realize that this was more something for a social worker to come to. So we would call for them. We'd stand by for like 30 minutes till they got there, and then we'd leave. And we made the transition over the last, I would say, 10 years, a lot to try and de-escalate in the sense that we would get there and go, do we need to be here? Is there a crime? Does this person need to go to the jail, or do they need to go get their meds reevaluated? And so we would see that, and I would keep an ear out for it because I'm crisis intervention trained. There's like a certain certification you can get with that. And so show up, go, do cops need to be here? No. This is not something, is this going to benefit this person and their family for them to go to jail? No, it is not. It's probably going to make things worse. So let's get them the help they need. We'll stand by to make sure nobody gets hurt till the crisis team gets there. They'll get there, 2 people. Trained, they'll have a degree, they'll have some experience, and they'll show up and do what they do. And so, that's I think the way it should go.
For sure. But maybe I'm cynical. But is it too late? Because the sense is that getting people in jail is what is making people money. Do you know what I mean? And the problem is the whole system that we're living in is just becoming more and more corrupt to the sense I don't see it changing. Unfortunately, I mean, drug laws are kind of changing a little bit, and we'll see that happen. Yeah, but it's almost
a slow process.
It's a slow process, and it's almost like a little too late. I mean, Arizona just legalized marijuana. I remember when I lived in Seattle, pushing it for the first times I could vote and always voting in favor of it, obviously. And even that seemed late. Gay marriage seemed late. All these things seemed really late to the table because they're already moving on to the next system, to the next thing that's in play, to the fact that whatever we're going to be getting busted for in 20 years isn't going to be a pot, I don't know, whatever that word is. It's not going to be a pot charge, a weed charge or whatever, it's going to be whatever new thing they need to fill that void. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I feel like that system's not going to change because the power hungry people that run this country, it's not going to change, unfortunately. I don't know. I'm optimistic in that.
It's backed by money. I mean, it's backed by profits,
yeah.
Right? It's like they're making too much money on putting people in jail, and
people like money. They're not going to be they always want to make more money every single year. No CEOs we or 0%. It's like we want to be in the green or the red. Like they don't want to be the red. We have to be in the green. Yeah. We have to be in the green though, and the green has to be higher than the green from the year before, or we failed. Now that's the red, and I feel like that's how.
Well, if you're in the green, then you are higher, right?
But I'm saying like,
hey. I caught it.
So what's the answer?
I have no fuck. I mean, I'm smoking weed and drinking on a podcast. I don't know. I think we should talk. I think smarter people should be talking about this, and I think that our main news sources should be talking about these stories. Should be talking about the small stories of like whether it is you saved somebody's life, whether it showed how police forces actually took care of a community. But we're all too cynical because we're addicted to the bad. And I think that's the human existence at this point. There's not enough people like this that are expanding consciousness or working on it enough. And that's the cynical side of me that it's...
I'll give you a little pushback on that. I think that there's going to be a positive reaction to a lot of the not going, where I think a lot of the cynicism comes from the fact that we're kind of always going for humor because at the end of the day, you'd rather laugh than cry or whatever it is, but part of humor, it's easier to find humor in anger than it is in sadness. So it's, humor is more easily derived from cynicism. So I think that's part of it, but there's a thirst for genuineness and obviously, and so
we've been in a drought, dude. We're all looking for that oasis, and that's Sahara Desert.
Yeah, and so that's I think the counterbalance to what you're saying is there is the cynicism, but there's also a desire for genuineness. So if you can present something that it's genuine, true, and positive like that,
did you see what weird,
Bradford just presented to you? It was genuine, pure, and positive. It might also have polyps. I don't know.
That's for sure.
If I didn't before, I do now.
That's for sure happening. But I just feel like it's also just it's a hippie movement, or it's this small revolution that kind of tumbles and inevitably gets trampled by the CIA.
You're hiding behind that camera.
Nazi fag.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, how are you doing? Hey, look at you. I couldn't see you behind the camera.
He's married.
I actually do that on purpose.
But I'm married to a woman.
Yeah, we all are.
So you mean that doesn't mean anything? That's what he means. So free game.
You're married to a woman. Pedro's married to a woman. Nick's married to me.
My wife just gave me a gay pass, so we're all good.
That's what she did for your birthday.
That's what she gave me for my birthday.
Congratulations,
Yeah,
buddy.
she didn't give me the hall pass.
So
she gave me the
ball pass.
Oh, jeez.
Shame on you.
And we're gonna cash that in, dude. Right after this.
Hell yeah.
Well, I don't
Right
know
after a
about
word from our sponsors.
Who is the sponsor?
It's
AA.
Yeah. I was about to say the place that you came from, but
Well, his name's Jeff, and I call him about twice a week.
I call him when I'm blackout drunk and I'm trying to... I'm Catholic, so I'm used to confessing to my sins. So I just call my AA sponsor. I'm like, not drinking. You're blackout drunk. I'm like...
we did get one. I saw that you got at least one response. I wanted to at least address.
Yeah, it was, what's the best donut shop in the town?
Fuck.
I was wondering if Jeff is the new Chad. No? Jeff? You said
Jeff is very
Where did you
Chad.
come up with that name, Jeff?
Jeff is very Chad. I've never known a Jeff that I respected.
I had a roommate in college, the biggest piece of shit named Jeff. Shout out. We were best friends forever, dude. But he was a little psycho, dude. I hope he hears this. That'd be so.
But we got a question about qualified immunity. Do you feel qualified to speak about qualified immunity?
Here was the question: what is your take on qualified immunity? Should we eliminate it? Should each? I'm sorry, I'm drunk. Should each cop be self-insured against lawsuits rather than the city or state paying settlements similar to doctors, construction workers, therapists, etc.?
Yeah. Here's the funny thing. Being a cop for 20 years, I never even heard that phrase until the last few years that I was a cop. And I was the senior rep for our union too. So I was like privy to any accusations that came down against any cops, any internal investigations they were involved with.
What would you attribute that to? Do you think that? And then I
was the oldest guy on the union, so that's why I was the senior.
Why didn't you hear about qualified immunity?
He's a senior, dude. He can't hear. Remember,
dude. I was from a pretty small department that had a great relationship with the community, and
so any issues around that wouldn't have hit you guys.
Yeah, we just didn't have we didn't that phrase never came up. So I really don't feel qualified to speak on that. I will just say this. I was never worried about it at all. I never had any separate insurance. I didn't homestead my house for fear that it might be sued away from me, because my thinking was, if I do the right thing,
You do your job. Yeah.
if I do my job in the right way and I do the right thing, things will work out. And it did work out for me. And I still don't know if anybody in the department that I work for. And I didn't work for Phoenix. I worked for a smaller department.
What if he just started naming off the places he didn't work for?
You can narrow it down.
Stop.
No.
It rhymes with.
No. Dude, all right. At this point, you can Google my
with
name and
Schmimpy.
you'll figure out who I work for.
I mean,
We can cut your last name out if you don't
Yeah.
want us to put it in there.
No. I'm good with it. I just
But, I mean, let's get to something you do feel qualified to speak
Yeah.
about, because I do have like sort of a more basic question.
Yeah.
I got a lot of questions actually from some followers. So
Yeah.
Do you
Go
have
ahead.
do you have
not the
anything
producer.
good? No, if you have anything in there that's good.
no, by all means,
because-
ask your questions since you want to be the spotlight of the show, CJ. Come on. Just kidding.
No, I just I wanted to
He's
try
a
and
dick
boil
sometimes,
the point
isn't
of that down. It's because I yelled at him last week.
It's-
I-
yeah, that's nice.
You can show that to camera, please. How?
Who's Cameron?
Nice.
Shout out Cameron.
Kirk.
How can citizens who are
Whoa,
concerned?
Cameron, doing good there, buddy.
How are citizens who are concerned about police abuses of power address those concerns constructively? From your experience, from what you've seen, is there some way on the citizen side that they can address, the issue of police abuses?
It's a way better question than any of our followers. Yeah.
I know, dude. Our followers are dumb, dude. I'm just trying to help
They're
us out.
so dumb.
We
Well-
love you. Please subscribe.
I can only speak for me and saying that like one of my things that I would do if we didn't have calls for service was I would drive into a neighborhood, roll down my windows, and drive really slow. And because I was a white male, nobody had a problem with that, right?
Plus, you're this white male. He's speeding.
If
Right.
a cop is
Apparently.
if a cop is driving slowly with his windows down, I'm peeking out the blinds.
You describing
like,
that
what the
gave
fuck
me
are you
anxiety, I will
doing?
tell you.
Yeah. What are you talking about? That's worse. Speed right through.
Yes.
This is bad advice with Brad.
It's almost as
Brad
bad
advice.
as me seeing a car I don't recognize go through my neighborhood driving very slow with the windows down.
But no, let's
Right.
not step on the advice, though, truly.
Yeah. No, so I would do that, and if anybody would be in their driveway or garage or whatever, I'd just stop and get out and talk with them, and say, "How's it going? Everything good?" Sometimes they'd be like, "What's going on, officer?" And I'd be like,
Being detained.
"Yeah, exactly."
You didn't read me my rights.
Yeah.
Am I being detained? I don't know. No, I'd say, no, I'm just stopping it. And enough people, I did that enough that enough people realized that was more normal than not.
it's building a rapport, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I'd say, what's going on in the community? Is there anything I need to know about around here? I had an elementary school I used to go to all the time that my son
Might have been the same one Pedro went to.
I like playgrounds.
All right, guys, let's get over the playground. All right? They're fun.
We
You
will
showed
when you
him the
do.
wrong picture.
No, I was looking for a sample. I wasn't sure if we had a good one or not.
There's a sample on that picture
Yeah,
too.
there's a little sample for you.
Sample. That's a little sample.
Catch me halfway up a slide, baby.
But I used to sit in front of the elementary school every day. And
So did you.
Please, sorry.
okay, there's a big difference between him sitting in front of him and me sitting, and you in your van. So
We were all at the same. It's so
we
fortuitous.
were all at the same school.
Yeah, dude, for different reasons.
16th Street and Union? Like,
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was you.
I knew that Ford Mustang looked suspicious.
Use that 69 bug.
A Jetta wagon.
License plate FREECNDY.
Y'all ridiculous, bro.
No, but people would go into, they'd get their kids out, go into the office and go, why are there police officers here? And then they go, well, that's the guy whose son went here and he sits out here to make sure everyone's here that's safe. So at first it was a shock to everybody. And then after a while they realized, oh, that's just Bradford. He sits there every day. And so what I tried to do was make it more normalized and more normalized to stop and talk to people in the neighborhoods. So
Turning yourself from the cop to Bradford is
yeah,
powerful.
no, I always tried to be Bradford the person. And so, to go back to your question, I think for me, I can only answer for me, and that is that I'm willing to engage anybody in conversation as long as they're willing to be respectful about it in any way, shape, or form at any time. And I've had people come up to me and ask, questions. Hey, what about this? Hey, what about that? And somebody go, no, dude, don't be a dick. And I'm like, no. If you want to have a conversation, we can have a conversation. There's no problem with that. How the question is, how can citizens be more involved? Go up to a police officer and just say, hi, I have a question for you, and just see how it goes. You might run into the wrong guy. Yes. You might run into the right guy. You might run into the right guy on the wrong day. He might have had a really bad day.
That's true.
But chances are you will run into just a normal person who will have a conversation with you and be willing to have that, as long as they don't have other stuff going on, and just do it.
So both sides need to treat each other like people.
Yes. Hello, humans. What a concept.
Can we, let me just ask this. Can we run over time and then just have it be audio only?
Yeah, sure.
Because I feel like we're just barely getting into this for some reason.
If you're happy to go over time, we can just reposition really quick.
Yeah, we can go a little bit.
We still have a few minutes.
I'm just saying, just to put
If it goes
put it
there.
out there. Yeah. That wasn't even a burp. You forced that, dude. Come on. You're just trying to get some tally.
Prolong the best time to end the episode.
here.
He's like, we should end the we should prolong it the best time we could have
At
ended.
the
Have a
ending.
good, clear
At the ending, yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm trying to get these questions
Pedro's been
out.
catching up on the burp tally, and that's what he's trying to get going.
Yeah.
No, it's a good point, Bradford. If you are good on time and you're okay with the edit time, I have a bunch of questions we could get into. We could even turn it into a two-parter.
But it is kind of sad, like, from what I see, is it seems like everyone is so quick to jump onto the victim side. And like, I don't know if it's ignorance or just, but I guess ignorance is just not knowing. I don't mean that like in a bad connotation or anything. I think it's just ignorance that they don't put themselves in the officer's shoes. They can't seem to wrap their head around what's going through your mind,
Or the fact that we're humans.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Or even that. Yeah.
because they're portrayed as the enemy in all these videos that you see online, so it's impossible to escape
the
that.
news.
Right.
Yeah. So that if that's all they're seeing of these people, obviously they're not seeing you as a human. They're seeing you as this other villainized image
and
caricature of yourself.
Devil's advocate, you do carry more authority, and therefore there is a higher standard for your behavior that you have.
And there should be.
held
And there
to.
should be.
But that shouldn't be seen as a dehumanization, but because
Right.
it puts one above the other, especially in a time that we're in right now where there's such an emphasis on differentiation of power and everything like that, that because as a police officer you hold more power, it does automatically put you in this position of us versus them if you don't consider the fact that it's people who are police officers, the same as it's people who are government. It's not some separate entity with its own characteristics.
Right. And let's touch on race for a bit. I mean, I definitely had several situations where I pulled somebody over who was black. I remember one guy specifically, pulled him over. It was on a Loop 101. Before I barely got up to the driver window was down. Why are you pulling me over? So I came up to the window. I introduced myself, said who I was, what agency I was with, why I pulled him over. And he said, you pulled me over because I was black. And I said, I didn't, because I saw your vehicle in the distance. I put the radar gun on you. I had no idea if a dog was driving the vehicle or not. I had no idea.
Right.
White, black, green, whatever. Robot, I don't know. In this day, Tesla, it could have been a driverless vehicle. I don't know. But I realized that he, I recognized that at that point, he was a little bit heightened as far as his response to being pulled over. So rather than react to that, I didn't feel like that was the right thing to do. So I asked him, I said, what are your concerns here? And it shut him down for a couple seconds. And I think he realized at that point I was willing to engage in conversation with him.
So this goes kind of back to a question that we got as far as training wise. You mentioned earlier that you are qualified in, remind me again?
Crisis intervention.
Intervention.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying
Yeah.
to say. Is every officer qualified in that, or is there some more training at the get-go to become an officer that should be implemented to maybe lessen these situations?
Well, I will say,
Although I feel like it's what we see in the media is like every day, all day, this and that, but I feel like it is few and far between. It doesn't happen too often.
yeah.
It's just what we're, getting smothered by through these sources that we tune into every day.
Sure. And what I'll say is that mostly what I dealt with was people in some area of crisis, whether it was to the point where you've been recently, which I think is pretty up there. I mean, I'd rank that 9 or 10 if you're at that point. Or whether it's, if you want to call 2 or 3, like I just got in a car wreck and I'm, really upset
Shaky,
about
yeah.
it, but for a 16-year-old girl, that might be her 9 or 10. Whereas you might be like, no.
That's my
I've
2.5.
been in car wrecks.
Oh.
That's my 2.5. I can deal with a car wreck.
Yeah.
I'm at a different point here. So, I think that every police officer needs to be crisis intervention trained,
Okay.
but they're not all.
But they're
I know,
not all.
No,
Okay.
Right. But I know that our department, I believe when I left, was about 50 to 60%
So that's
trained.
a high percentage.
Yeah, which is about a week or 2 class, and then you can go to the advanced, which I also did, which is another week class. And it's just about dealing with people who are in high senses of crisis, which some people would go, I can't even fathom that crisis. And some people go, yeah, that's me like every other day. So, back to the original question.
Yeah. So not all of them are trained.
No,
Yeah.
at every
Interesting.
agency. So ours was,
And they all
mostly.
vary.
Yes.
Yeah, they all
yeah.
vary for sure.
Yeah. And let's face it, people don't call the police to go, hey, I'm having a great day today. Can you send a police officer over here?
Right.
I just want to tell them what a great day I'm having.
Yeah.
I just got up, had a
Right.
cup of coffee, and I'm in the backyard sunning myself.
Yeah.
Being
or-
a cop is like a Yelp review. It's nobody's doing it. Nobody's talking about the good ones.
I know.
That's true. Yeah. Nobody talks about the 5 stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you touched on that a lot on one of these questions we got from a listener. Many people's fear is getting pulled over and are already in fight or flight. How do you enter that situation where the person is already in fight or flight? How do you go about de-escalating the situation? So what you touched upon by introducing yourself, by asking what are you concerned about? Yeah. I think that's, obviously the person that you pulled over, whether it be black, brown, Asian, whatever, you said they were taken back by that, and they're like, okay, now I feel like I can have a one-on-one conversation with, this person, although he has a higher authority, although this and that. Yeah. I kind of get a general sense of his feelings and whatnot on the situation. So I think that, that goes back to your training.
Yeah, and it also goes back to, I think, being, I started being a cop when I was 29, and I had liberal parents who imparted on me at a young age that you've probably heard me say the word human a lot, and I used to say it on the radio. Like on the police radio. I'd say I'll be out with one black human, or I'd be, I have one white human in custody or whatever.
It's very progressive.
People thought it was funny, It's like, that's funny. Why should that be funny? That shouldn't be funny. That's
we're all one race.
Well, we're all humans.
The human race, yeah.
People thought it was funny, and they still think, some of them still think it's funny, and some of them,
It's such a surprise to them.
Right.
It's
it's
funny.
like, Why
which
should
is
that?
kinda sad.
Why should that be such a surprise? So I always came at it with that aspect. Now I also need to add the caveat. I am a white male. I'm not quite 55, so I can't say I'm elderly. So I'm a white, straight male. And so I don't have the cultural background that a lot of people do. So as a Hispanic getting pulled over, as a black person getting pulled over, as a gay person getting pulled over, you whatever way you want to name, that person might immediately be going, oh crap, I'm getting pulled over because I'm
Blank.
fill in the blank.
Yeah.
And so when I approach that person, I have to keep in mind that they might be coming at me very defensively. They might be thinking, I have no idea what they're thinking because I'm coming at you from a middle class white background. So I have to come at them very open. Like, here's who I am. Here's what I'm doing, and then if I see that they have some concerns, then I'll say, tell me what your concerns are. So I think that, that helped me a lot in my career to be more engaging, just person to person.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to end it, man.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I mean, that's
Yeah,
beautiful. That's
that's-
what we need to hear. I
Are
feel
you
like,
kicking us out?
yeah.
10 minutes
Like,
early? Holy shit.
20 other questions, but
Can we rattle them off like rapid fire?
okay, yeah, I'll
I
rapid
have
fire.
at least one silly one, so please.
Yeah, let's
Ask your
rapid
best
fire.
one.
Let's rapid fire.
Ask the best one.
Yeah.
He wants us the hell out of here.
Yeah. Well, we're already going 10 minutes over. Our camera's dead.
Oh
Still
shit.
got this one.
That one's going. Go ahead.
Okay, real quick, and mainly because I want to know this that somebody asked. If someone breaks into your home, and the homeowner grabs a gun and shoots them, are they fucked in when it comes to the legal process of that? How does that play out?
Tell him to read up on the castle doctrine.
The castle doctrine?
Yep. That's the law that covers that.
Okay.
Also, not really a question for a cop.
Yeah. I'm glad you asked to have these questions.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that could actually be for anybody. But go ahead.
Sorry,
next,
you
next question.
asshole.
Next question.
Okay.
Rapid fire.
Okay. Okay. All right. I asked that. With the world crapping, how do you get up every day and do it? Or when you said you didn't have to deal with that much though, because you worked for a good.
Things ebbed in and out, but just wake up as a human and do the best job you can during that day with what you have and how you feel that day, and then go home and look yourself in the mirror and go, I did the best I could.
Day to day.
Yes.
Okay. Worst call you've ever been out to?
Rapid fire.
Yeah.
Okay,
Great rapid fire. Okay.
Anything with a baby
Yeah.
death.
Oh, that's got to be terrible. All right. We'll end on baby death.
Oh, great.
Okay,
That's great.
What are we doing here?
I told you 15 minutes ago would have been
hold
the
on.
perfect ending.
This is the other
This
one.
is why we have a
I have
time
at least
cap
one
on the
good. We can.
episodes.
I've seen your on-duty demeanor in the old news footage. You're so serious, I literally don't recognize you when you're talking as a police officer.
I was going to say the same thing, actually.
What's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you while on the job?
I was at an elementary school playing with some kids. We were playing tag. I tagged them. For some reason, they thought they were all it. No, let's not go the playground route.
No, I was just Pedro has a very similar story. I think. No, I'm just kidding.
My boss was there. My boss's boss was there. My boss's boss's boss was there. They all came running after me. They were all it, apparently, and I had to run from them. I tripped. I made an attempt to save myself. I couldn't. I hit the curb of the pavement, and I went down like a fucking sack of potatoes.
And the gun went off, and I don't know what happened after that.
I said, taser, taser, taser.
And with that, I think let's end it.
Bradford, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you so
and
much
doing
for
this.
your
Good.
time. Yeah.
Thanks for having me, man.
Want to plug anything? Plug away.
Mr.
Your band,
Incommunicado.
Incommunicado?
Want to plug anything?
Oh, of course.
Twirl his hair.
Pedro just got the
Twirl
ball
his hair,
pass, buddy.
That's true.
Getting turned on over here.
Mr. Incommunicado, baritone basses, Haley Green,
Yeah.
Haley Green Music.
Yeah.
Go check them out. What else do you want to plug, Bradford?
Nothing. Just be kind to each other.
That's beautiful.
just realize we're all humans. I mean, I appreciate you guys having me on here, and yeah, anytime, man. I'd love to come back at some point.
Hell yeah.
Thank you, buddy.
For sure.
Yeah,
Listen,
thanks
your
for coming
voice,
Open
man,
invitation.
pretty smooth.
Thank you for your time, and you're very smooth.
Playing it real cool at the end there.
Amor y paz.
See you next.